we'll certainly be doing that.
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
I wanted to share a couple things that not so much about accounting, but just about the course that I think some people miss that are really valuable. And then about halfway through, they're like, whoa, I wish I'd known that was there all along. So I'm going to share my screen. Maybe you have seen all these already, but let's see, did I share the right screen? Why didn't it light? Usually it lights up green. Just make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Yeah.
How many screens do you have?
Many screens. Well, I just have two, but usually
Well,
the one I
I'm
share.
using three. That's why I ask.
Nope. I'm low budget. I can only afford two apparently. All right. So here I am in the course. I'm in the modules area. And the first thing that like people I think underutilize is the tutoring resources right here, because they see tutoring resources and they're like, like I don't want to do that. But I'm just, what, did I start recording? I think I did. Yeah.
I got it that it
Yeah.
recorded. Yeah.
Um, and so maybe all of you have already seen this, but not everybody has. And so I'm just going to show you, click on it. What's cool about it is it's this little moderated chat area. And so like Megan, she's our moderator this semester and she's pretty awesome. And she'll post when there's tutoring appointments available if people want to meet with a tutor. There's also a place here where you can click to arrange for a live tutoring appointment. And then they'll also post stuff up on here that says like, hey, I'm doing a drop-in tutoring. And so you can click on that and learn about the drop-in tutoring. They'll have live sessions with the tutors. Just, again, recognizing that oftentimes as instructors, we have 100 students. And so we can't always get back to you. I try to get back to people within a day, but that's pretty frustrating when you're working on the homework now, and it takes me 12 hours to respond to you. Anyway, that's there. My additional study content is here, but that's also linked in our class. But I just found that students in other sections like it too, so I post that there for them. Have any of you used this tutoring help?
I have used it in past
Yeah,
courses,
I
but
have
not this one.
Okay.
I'll be
Well,
using it though for sure. I'm just looking at the tutoring for the top here. Looks like there's not a whole lot of them I'll be able to do during the day though, so I'll have to do the drop in
right.
or schedule a time.
Anyway, so I just want to make sure people are aware that's there. And then also in the modules, most people see my little Brother Fox's helpful stuff with module, which only has 2 items in it. But the first item is additional study content. And honestly, it just links you to a Google Doc because I'm not paying for web hosting. But in that Google Doc, then there's links to, I have videos of me working out several of the quiz access problems. And so some people find them very useful and other people are like, I don't really use it. An overview of each chapter. So it's really a link to a lot of YouTube videos I have on my YouTube channel. So that's just there for you if you want it. It's not a required resource. But some people find it valuable. So I want to make sure people know it's there. And then the other is the presentation assignments. If you ever forget which one did I sign up for or whatever, you can click on that and it just takes you to another, like a Google Sheets that has the assigned weeks and then the people by group. And you can see there's 2 different sections of students. So a lot of people don't know what section they're in. When I ask them, they're like, I don't know, I'm taking accounting. And so if you're either an A5 or B4, if you're in my class, those are the 2 sections I'm teaching. But that's just there again, because sometimes you get a few weeks in and then you're like, I don't remember what I signed up for. So that's there. And then one more thing in the modules, and I'm not sure why it's set up this way, but there's a bunch of additional study content put out by McGraw-Hill that some people really like. And again, other people don't love, I guess. But it's hard to find because it's all the way at the end of the modules and it's called student resources. And so people don't see it until like later in the semester. But if you put it at the top, then people expand it and then they're like, it takes forever to get to my thing. So I don't know which is the best, but just know that's there. It's like, and you'll see these, they pop up and they look like they're assignments, these concept videos, they look like they're assignments that are required for you to do because they have points on them. But the way the course designers set them up is they're in a category that's weighted at 0%. So they actually don't affect your grade. They're just optional. And that's why, because what will happen is people get down to the end of the course and they're like, why are all these assignments due April 10th? Well, they just put them in there. Unfortunately, the way Canvas links up with McGraw-Hill, you can't just have it as a non-graded thing. You have to put a due date. And so that's why they have points. But know that they're not worth anything towards your grade. But some people find them very useful. So I guess know that's there as well. And then there's also some links to like the university policies and stuff like that. So that's one I think people miss and they don't realize is there. So those are the three things. I will also say that if you, I don't know, are you able to see your grades in McGraw-Hill? Has anybody looked for them there?
I haven't
So
seen them in
we
McGraw
see
Hill.
there, but it's different on Canvas.
Right.
If you complete the assignment, you get 100% on Canvas, but then the grade that you have for your assignment, the percentage is different.
Okay, well the percentage shouldn't be different, but your total grade might be. So if there is, we may have to look at that, Louisa. But what I was going to say is some of the assignments are only in Canvas and not on McGraw-Hill. So if you can see your McGraw-Hill grade, it's not accurate. This grades link or grades tab here on the left will be the place where you could see your accurate grade. And just so you know, like I update grades, I try to do it like every Monday or Tuesday. So if you say you're running late on something and you email me and you say, hey, is there any way I can get an extension? And I say yes, I'll still go through and mark a 0 on your grade. And people think I'm being mean, but I'm not. I think there's value in knowing exactly where you stand right now. And when you submit that late thing that you got an extension on, then the grade will come up. But if I don't mark it and then I forget to, later on, you'll think, oh, my grade's higher than I thought it was. And then when I go through and zero out, it ends up dropping your grades. So that's why I just try to be very consistent about updating grades every Monday or Tuesday. Some weeks, if they're super busy, it might take me till Thursday. I don't have any regular classes on Thursday, so that's when I catch up on everything. By regular, I mean face-to-face classes. So just so you know, I'm not in Idaho. I'm in Arizona. And so I'm an adjunct instructor. I just teach two sections of accounting a semester for BYU Idaho, but I teach full time at another college, Eastern Arizona College down in Southern Arizona. And so that's, and then my background is in I do some business consulting, and we own a few businesses, my wife and I. But sometimes you get the job at the college because it has good insurance and summer's off, right? So even though when you're self-employed, you keep it a side gig sometimes so that you can get insurance, unless you're making real money, and you can afford to just pay for all your healthcare out of pocket. I have 8 kids. I don't think I could ever afford healthcare out of pocket. We had a son who was in a car accident on a mission. And it was bad enough that he had to come home. He was in the intensive care for 3 weeks and then hospitalized for 10 weeks. And we got the bill for that. And then that's when I was grateful for insurance, about $900,000 worth of. Anyway, what was that? Yeah, that was a few years ago. He's married and going to school and doing great, but he's doing it without his spleen, without one of his kidneys, and and some other things. You only need one. You're good. And he's got a couple brothers that match him pretty good. So if we're in trouble, we'll be all right. Anyway, so those were the main things course-wise. I just wanted to go over to make sure everybody's aware of them because I think they're valuable. Any questions about those things or other features of the course that you had questions about? The presentation assignments, everybody feel like they understand what's expected? That's another one. That's why I created the little video and the announcements. What's interesting is the same people who come to this meeting are also the same ones who read the announcements. And so, but there'll be somebody who will be like, I didn't know we had to do a presentation. Out of 100 people, it happens. There's always something like that. So, okay, then any questions about specific like course content, questions you were working on and were stuck on, or any of those sorts of things?
Sometimes McGraw, he'll
Stinks.
states questions in a way that is ambiguous, and it can go either way. I don't know how to explain this, but you think that is one thing, and then when you check the answer is another. And then you go for the textbook to check the answer, and you see that it could go both ways.
Mm.
And you answer it, and you know that your answer is right, but the way that they phrase the question, they give you wrong, but you know that your answer is right. You go to the textbook and you see that your answer is right, but just because they phrase it in a certain way, they expect you to answer in a certain way, but you got it
Right.
wrong.
Yeah, I know. And that can be frustrating. And there's two theories. The first theory is that the authors are really great authors and they understand that accounting is subtle and they're choosing their wording to make it very challenging and subtle. The second theory is that they're just not great authors. And I tend toward the second theory. It is true that accounting is really an attention to detail sort of discipline. And there are lots of gray areas. You know, there's things that are clearly one way or clearly another, and then there's this sort of
Gray area.
amorphous place in the middle. But I agree with you. There are times in the book where it feels like maybe there's certain questions where it feels like they're trying to catch me on wording instead of catch me on, you know, do I understand the concept or not? And I don't have any magical thing to say about that other than I know it's frustrating sometimes.
I know.
And as you move forward, you start to get used to their
Hey Google, how much time is left
their
on the
trips.
timer?
You've got 1 minute and 53 seconds left.
Okay.
So after reading the question, so after reading the details, we want to make sure to do the questions. Is that right?
What was that?
After reading, I'm looking at one of these here and just looking at the smart book one. I've read through it, but
Mhm.
we also want to answer the questions afterwards. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the smart books are graded assignments.
Yeah, and after you read the question, if you don't know the answer, make sure to check the concept, because it's a great tool to check the concept and make sure that you know what they're talking about, because sometimes things are so similar to one to another, it's hard to figure out what the author wants.
It is
Question.
true that like that accounting in general and then this class accounting is less about math. It feels like a math course, but it's less about math and more about sorting things into the right categories. So maybe categorization. And that can be challenging because again, there's things that are clearly an asset. You know, if I have a car or a building, that's an asset. But then there's things that the world will call an asset, like your people, they're assets, but they're not assets in an accounting sense. We don't own our employees, and we don't have the right to just, you know, buy and sell them or put them out of service. And so it can be confusing sometimes because there's areas that are clearly one way, and then other areas that are less clear sometimes, and especially till you get used to it. And that's, you know, just do it every day for 20 or 30 years and then you're really good at it, like anything else. Same with guitar and piano. I don't know, I've been trying to run for a long time and I'm still not good at it, so I'm not really built for speed, but that's okay. I'm just trying to stay healthy, right? Anyway, other questions or specific questions we'd look at? We don't have to, you know, usually if we're done in 30 minutes, that's terrific. But I also don't want to leave someone thinking, man, I wanted to ask that question and he rushed us.
No, I don't really have any questions.
Okay. Hey,
So-
Snick. Oh,
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just asking if Snick was doing okay and had any questions.
Nope, I'm good.
I'm going to call you Snick from now on. You have to know that.
That's totally fine.
Sorry, go ahead, Rick. I apologize.
No worries. So this is all new to me in accounting. I hear the word, like you said, in math and go, wow. So can we go over one of these questions?
Sure.
I've read through it, listened to it, and I have better listening than reading it, but I was able to listen to it today and grasp the concept. So can we, I want to do at least a couple with you or with the
Sure.
group so I can
Sure.
understand what I'm going through here.
So
Let me
what, tell
just-
me what you're looking at right now and I'll pull it up on this side.
Okay, yeah. So let me pull up my other screen here. All right, send this over. So I guess I could share my screen with you. That might
Okay,
be
that'll work too.
easier.
Let me stop sharing mine. And then let
Okay.
me, I think my settings are, they default to,
All right, yeah, host disabled participant. Yeah,
okay, now you should be good.
okay. All right, so I've got you up here a minute. Let me pull up my screen here.
That's pretty busy.
Let me- it's all about the bats. Let's make sure I have this right. Hold on a second. Here, just a minute. I think I've got to close out a few of these. Hi, my baby.
I think you went on mute.
I did. I was talking to my boys a minute.
Oh, okay.
Hold on a sec. All right. I've got my house is not quite as busy as yours. I have 4. But
Well, mine are all
Okay,
grown up.
so-
I only have one at home, so mine's easy now.
yeah. So I want what's going on here. Oh, I know what I did. If I new share, it's not. Hold on. I'm sorry. Here we go. This is what I want. Right there. All right, so I'll start my questions. Okay, that's fine. So, oh, all right. So mainly they're multiple choice to what needs to be after relevance or reading. Is that really what they're telling us, and then kind of how it works?
So I'm not sure I understand your question.
I was expecting a little more than this. I thought that's why I was asking. Let me go back. Okay, so begin. So I was hearing there was some adding and making numbers available. Is that maybe that's not? Just lost it. So am I just answering questions for now? That's kind of what
So-
I'm asking?
So when you do the smart book, yeah, that's mostly just multiple choice. It's honestly like, it's like reading and a little quiz to check your reading, right? That you've understood the stuff, the content from the chapter.
Okay.
But when you do so if you go into week 2, so, but with, when you do like the financial statement analysis
Yeah.
and then the quiz
here.
access,
Yeah.
those are more like what you'd think of like accounting based problems where you'll be figuring out the answers to things, not just a multiple choice quiz.
Okay. So here is where I need to probably make sure I get this right then from these presentations and quizzes here.
Yeah, and also recognize, like if I think I mentioned in an earlier announcement that the course is weighted so that like these quizzes, you'll see like the week 2 quiz that's locked here.
Yeah.
They are a heavily weighted part of your course grade, the quizzes and the exams.
I remember that.
So the way it's set up is, and again, it's in the syllabus, but a lot of people miss it, is that you have to take the quiz access first. You have to score at least an 85% on it, and then it will open the quiz. And the intent is to make sure you're prepared to do well on the quiz.
Right.
Quiz access,
How many opportunities do we have on the quiz?
I believe, I think that I think it's 3. Let me double check.
Okay.
I don't want to tell you wrong.
Yeah.
I could be getting it mixed up with the quiz access.
And I asked you, I mean, I can say, I'll think positive here, but
So on the quiz
I don't
access,
quiz well. Doesn't matter how much I prepare for it. It's just one of those things. I'm sure many people have them, but
right. So do know that the quiz is a strong word for them. In other words, they're completely open note, open book.
okay,
They're not
that's
okay, but so maybe that'll take some of the pressure off with them. You
Yeah.
can use whatever resources you want. So the
Right.
quiz access, they have unlimited tries, and then the quizzes have 3 tries.
Okay. Okay.
So, but also they're open. So the ones that are going to be scary are the exams, because those
Right,
are
right.
completely closed note, closed book.
Right. That's
And
the
everybody-
one at the bottom here, the proctor practice remote proctored, that one.
Well, so though that's just a practice one to make sure you have
Okay.
Proctorio set up. The first
Okay.
exam isn't until week 5, I think.
Okay. And I'll be
Actually,
asking
I have
heavily
a
on
question
those.
about that later after you're done.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay.
Okay, the question I have is, I have chronic migraines, and I take some medication that really messes up my memory.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have to memorize stuff like concepts and definitions and things like that, sometimes my mind goes blank and I can't remember a thing when I have to take a test.
Mm-hmm.
I usually do well and I don't have to do anything about it. So I haven't done anything such as getting a letter from my doctor and request to have an open book or a reference sheet or anything like that so far, because I've been doing pretty well on the exams in spite of the problem. But last semester I had geology and it was a nightmare because there was like a ton of concepts to memorize, and chemistry and all kinds of stuff that I had to memorize and I wasn't prepared for it. Like every exam was like a stack of concepts that I had to memorize for each test. And well, I didn't have time, to make a long story short, I didn't have time to go through the process of doing what I had to do to get the ball rolling, to get permissions and stuff, blah 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 blah. So what I need to know is there a lot of memorizing to do for your tests? Because if there is, maybe I should go and get permissions to have open book on the exams. What do you think?
So the short answer is yes. That's a major complaint we get from students. Again, I don't create the course. They're created so that all of them are the same, but many students feel like the volume, the amount of information that's kind of coming at them, and then that they have to remember for the exams, is a lot for them. And so if you think that you might need a disability accommodation, I would start that process sooner rather than later. I will say they've been pretty reluctant in the past to I don't know. I'm not a disability coordinator and I'm not an expert in those things. So I would say talk to them, the accommodation office. I try to remember what their actual title is, but and they can sort of tell you what they would need in order to process something like that. From an instructor standpoint, I'm not allowed to alter the class or the expectations of the class, or provide any accommodation unless I'm specifically given a letter from the I think it's the accessibility office that says this is a specific accommodation for this student. And so it's hard when a student comes and says, I need this help, and they need the help, but you're not allowed to do it. You have to refer them back to the people who, I guess, they're experts in it. Because I'm not, as far as like when it's warranted for someone to have additional time on exams or whatever. So I would say yes. Back to the short answer, most people complain that most people who do complain about this class complain that it's a lot of information to process.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So can I share my screen one more time? I'm just
Sure.
going through here. Make sure I get it right this time. So once I press this, so if I want to go back and read the book or the chapter that's referenced, is there, and I begin because I've already started a question, multiple choice. How do I get back to look at see current? I'm already starting my questions here.
Mhm.
How do I get back to the reading instead of saving and continuing? Because it's going to continue with all the
If you-
questions.
So I will. So there's a couple ways. Some of the, without seeing that one, some of the assignments have links to concepts or readings from the text in the problem.
Okay.
Um,
So if I
again,
continue, like this one, ebook.
mhm.
Okay. All right. So
And
once
then
I've
go ahead.
read through it and listened to what it's saying in the chapter, there's no way to go back to that chapter reading. Just have to work through the concept here.
Well, I mean, again, so you could click on ebook here.
Mhm.
I believe that I'm trying to remember. I think this is people get frustrated because let me see.
I think he needs to finish the question before he can leave it.
No, Rick,
Well,
if you click on the references under,
yes.
it'll bring up, see, and it'll tell you exactly where you need to go.
Okay. So where do I? So here's my references.
Mhm.
Is that in the ebook?
Yes.
Okay.
So like watch, click on ebook.
Okay. And then
And
it's
you
in the
can,
business transaction.
yeah, so I'll say if you look in the chapter, you'll see it's the chapter is broken down by those learning objectives. And so like on the reference, so you'll see that opened in a new tab for you.
Yeah.
So
Okay. A1. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
and I will say I've noticed among students of the younger age, so the the newer college students I have coming in, that a lot of them, rather than read the text first, they like to jump into the work and then sort of read the sections as they need help. When I was growing up, I was always taught to sort of read through it, or at least skim the chapter first, then start into the work, and then reference back if I need a deeper reading. But I'm surprised by how many of them don't try at all. And then when they get stuck, they're like, I don't know what to do. And you're like, look in the book. But that's not as natural to their learning style today. So whichever one works for you, it's not just a young old thing. Some people really do prefer to just try something and see how they do. But anyway, so yeah, did that help clarify how you would navigate that, Rick?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I've got a busy night tomorrow night, so I have to cram as much as I can in tonight and tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm going to be up late both nights, which I already knew. But
Yeah, my wife started taking college classes this last semester again, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about all how much it's actually work that you have to do. It's not just, so
yeah,
it's fun to watch her struggle through. I mean, not really fun, but it's fun to see her be like, "Oh yeah, I've forgotten."
yeah.
Anyway, all right. I think it's about time to call it a night. Any final questions? We didn't start with a prayer. We're supposed to, so maybe we should end with a prayer at least. And that would be would be 50% holy, and that's better than zero. Anyway, still an F though, isn't it? But work on that. Anybody willing to volunteer for a prayer?
I'll
I
offer.
can say,
Oh, you got it. Go
okay.
ahead, Louisa. Go ahead.
All right. Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for the chance that we had to talk and get to know each other. We ask thee to bless us in our efforts to study and improve ourselves. We ask thee to bless our professor for all his effort to teach us and instruct us in this subject. We ask thee to bless our lives, that we may progress, improve, and finish our studies the best we can, and have a better life. We say these things in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. Well, for those of you who want to, I'll see you next week. If you find yourself getting stuck on a specific problem, bring it and we'll work it out together. Anyway, have a great week and well, a great night and a great week. And we'll see you next week.
Well, I'll reach out to you probably
Thank you
during,
so much.
even before the time tomorrow if I'm still stuck, but
Okay.
otherwise we'll get the other. Thanks.
All right, great. Have a
Thank
good
you so
night.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
Good night. Bye.